awesome chocolate brownie cake. Cher, that looks amazing.
Yes, it is amazing. Looking forward to trying it, boy.
Yeah, me too, because
Mm-hmm.
we didn't get a chance to test it out, but oh, it looks so good.
So
So, what do
what
you got here?
we have, let's see, we got 3 cups of flour, 2 cups of heavy cream. We've got a cup of hot brewed coffee. We're going to use 4 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate chopped up. We're going to have a teaspoon of baking powder, 1.5 teaspoons of salt, 2.25 teaspoons of baking soda, 1.5 cups of cocoa powder, 4 eggs, 1/4 cup of vegetable oil, and that's going to be our cake mixture. Now the frosting's going to come by a little later on. I'll show you how we do that.
Nice. So you have hot coffee and you put
Hot
some.
coffee, we're going to have 4 ounces of semi-sweet chopped chocolate and pour the hot coffee, 1 cup of hot coffee over that, and then we're going to stir it until it melts. So that's the chocolate I use. 4 ounces, put it in the coffee till it melts, stir it up.
Nice.
Yeah.
So that makes it taste better?
It enhances the chocolate flavor. Coffee does. You don't taste the coffee in the cake, but it does taste, I don't know, it gives it a richer chocolatey taste.
Nice.
We're going to add our liquid ingredients together, so that coffee mixture with the chocolate is going to be going with our cream, our 2 cups of cream. And our dry ingredients will all be mixed together. That's the salt, the baking powder, the salt, the baking soda, the cocoa powder, all gets mixed together. And that's 1.5 teaspoons of salt, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and 2.25 teaspoons of baking soda. That's going in right now. We have 1.5 cups of cocoa powder going into our dry ingredients. We're going to mix that all really well before we add all of our liquid and our powder and our dried stuff together. So
You're whisking that up, huh, Chad?
yeah, you want to mix it really good. You don't want to have a clump of salt or baking soda in your mouth. So we got our mixture, our liquids going together. So I'm adding the 2 cups of cream to our coffee mixture, and that's going to go in our mixer, our KitchenAid mixer. So our vanilla goes in there as well. I use a tablespoon of vanilla because I love vanilla in my baking. I'm now adding 1/4 cup of vegetable oil. We're going to put the eggs in after it's all mixed together, meaning the wet and the dry ingredients. Now don't forget there's heavy cream in this, so when we mix this, it's gonna start to thicken up, which is what we want. So we're gonna start mixing, and then we're gonna gradually add our dry ingredients to the wet. Do this nice and slow. You don't want to get flour in your face.
How long are you mixing that for?
It's gonna take, well, probably about 7 or 8 minutes. We've got the sugar going in now. There's 3.25 cups of sugar that go in this. So I'm putting the sugar in before I put in my flour mixture. And now goes the flour mixture. And that's going to be mixing for probably 6 or 7 minutes. We want to add 1 egg at a time because this is starting to thicken up now. have a nice creamy texture when you're all done. Doesn't that look nice? Now I have a springform pan that I use.
What are you
spraying it with cooking spray. I put foil underneath because I just want to make sure nothing leaks from underneath there. So just as a safety precaution.
So then it's going to go in the oven?
It's all going in the springform pan and then into the oven at 300 degrees.
For how long?
Well, this took about actually 2 hours for me. It says to check it at 1.5 hours, but I kept checking it because it just wasn't getting done. So all ovens are different. So you might want to start checking your oven at 3.5.
There, it's coming out of the oven.
Yeah. At 1.5 hours, you want to check it with a toothpick.
So that went into the fridge for a day. We didn't do this part till the next day, right?
Oh, right. Now we're taking it out, but this was the next day. So you do want to put it in the fridge after it comes out and cools. It's going in the fridge for just overnight, and then we're going to put our icing on our cake. So how I make my icing for this cake is I put a stick of butter in my mixer. It's got to be room temperature preferably. My house is really cold, so it's not as soft as I would like it, but it should be room temperature. And I use about 1.5 sticks of butter, a teaspoon of almond extract. I think it adds a nice touch to this cake. And I use a teaspoon of vanilla extract as well. And I'm going to be using about 4.5 cups of confectionery sugar, and gradually put that into the butter mixture. And I'm adding a little bit of, this is heavy cream, but you can use milk at a time. Start with 2 tablespoons of milk or cream, or half and half, or light cream, any of that's okay, until it gets to the consistency you want, because some people like it a little bit thinner, some like it thicker, but you want it to be spreadable. So I probably used 1/4 cup of the cream mixture for this to make it soft enough to spread, and it's just enough to spread over top of the cake. It's not enough for 2 layers. If I were to cut this cake and make 2 layers out of it, I would have probably doubled the recipe. But this gives you plenty for the top, and I'm going to make a ganache after this to put over top of this icing. But you can use any icing you want for this cake. I just think this is really special. So this is my buttercream almond frosting. Looks like butter, doesn't it?
Looking good, Sharon. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're handy with that little, what do you call that tool you have there?
I guess it's like I don't know, I guess it's an icing spreader.
It's like a little long spatula.
I know, it does. It really is good for icing cakes.
So what's the
now,
cream going in?
The cream is going in on our stove top. We're going to warm that up, and it's about 2 cups, a little bit less than 2 cups of cream. We want it to simmer until it starts kind of boiling, not boiling, but simmering on the outside. On the perimeter, you want to see the bubbles coming up out of there. You want it to get hot, but not boiling hot. And I put 6 ounces of chocolate. It's probably about 8 ounces of chocolate in a bowl.
So that's going to melt the chocolate?
And that will melt the chocolate. I don't need as much cream as I used. I probably used more like, 1.25 cups of the cream. Pour that over your chocolate, and you're going to let that stand for about 4 or 5 minutes, and you want to stir that afterwards because it's going to melt. And you have to stir it quite a bit once you start stirring it, and it all starts to come together after a couple of minutes of stirring. See, it doesn't look like it's gonna work, but it does. You just have to be patient. See, it's coming together. It's coming together.
Ah, there it is.
See that? Now I'm going to drizzle it over the cake. And you can put it all over the cake and just make it one layer of chocolate over top of that. But I like the looks of this. And I like to see what's underneath of it, you know. You can see there's a little something else under there, not just chocolate.
Looking good. Looking pretty too.
Yeah.
I wish I could try some. Is it still in the freezer?
It's in my freezer. I put it in
When are we
right after
gonna
this.
Break that out.
I want a special occasion coming up. Hey, you know, my birthday's coming up next month.
I gotta wait a month? Look at that. Ooh, yum, yum, yum. Chocolate brownie cake. Wow.
Yeah. I hope you guys try this recipe. It's really good. It does take a little time, but it's worth it for anything special for your loved one.
Hey, well, thanks for watching. Hey, like, subscribe, put on your notifications. There's more recipes to come. Recipes to Live For by Sherry.
Thanks
she
for joining
is
us.
amazing. Yes. Join us again next time. And we'll see you soon.
Take care.